Southgate Treatise. Translated, with introductory essays, comments, and notes by Hsueh-li Cheng, 1982. 2. With or without effect. This is the longest chapter in the treatise. Nãgãrjuna examines here the relationship between cause and effect to show that causal relation cannot be explained rationally. If there is a causal relation, is cause with effect and then produces it? Or is the cause first without the effect and then produces it? Nãgãrjuna argues that neither case can be established. The issue is also whether an effect is already real in a cause or at the outset unreal in a cause, and whether an effect preexists in a cause or not. Nãgãrjuna tries to point out that causal production is impossible by showing that causal relation cannot be established. Nãgãrjuna uses the logic of the tetralemma to discuss the issue. There are 4 possible views of causality, namely an effect is already real in a cause, an effect is at the outset unreal in a cause, an effect is both real and unreal in a cause, and an effect is neither real nor unreal in a cause. His analysis is concentrated on the first 2 cases. Again, things are not produced. Why? If an effect is already real in a cause, there can be no production. If at the outset unreal in a cause, there can be no production either. If both real and unreal, there can be no production. How can there be production?
If an effect is already real in a cause, then there will be no production. If an effect is at the outset unreal, there will not be production either. If an effect is both real and unreal, there will be no production either. Why? If an effect is already real in a cause and becomes, again, a product, there will be an infinite regress. If an effect is that which is not yet produced and becomes a product, then that which is already produced should have a product again. Why? Because they are originally real in a cause. Even the effect of that which is already produced should have production again. So there will be an infinite regress. If it is said that that which is already produced can never be produced again, but that which is not yet produced can be produced, there is no principle of production in the situation. Therefore, it is impossible that an effect is already real in a cause and becomes a product.
Comment: Nãgãrjuna seems to say that since an effect is already real, both Weixing and Qin-sheng or I-sheng are equally real. If the former is to be produced or can be produced, then the latter in principle will be produced again and again. So there will be infinite regress. Also, if both Weixing and I-sheng are equally already real, then the one cannot be produced if the other is not produced. Therefore, production cannot be established. Again, to say that an effect is already real in a cause and that which is not yet produced will be produced, but the product which is already produced will not be produced, again, is unintelligible. For that which is not yet produced and that which is already produced are both real, they have the same nature. There is no reason for them to have different functions, for the one to be produced and the other not.
Comment: The opponent may argue that Weixing and I-sheng are the same only with respect to essence or nature, but are different with respect to function. Weixing and I-sheng cannot both be produced or both not be produced, as Nãgãrjuna argued in the preceding 2 paragraphs. To deal with this objection, Nãgãrjuna wants to point out that there is no ontological ground for Weixing and I-sheng to have different functions. If 2 things have the same essence, they should have the same function. So it is untenable to say that Weixing can produce but I-sheng cannot. Again, if that which is not yet produced is truly real, then that which is already produced would, by your logic, be unreal. Why? Because that which is already produced and that which is not yet produced are opposite. Since that which is already produced and that which is not yet produced are opposite, their production should be different.
Comment: LN previous paragraphs it is argued that if the opponent holds that Weixing and I-sheng are equally real, he should not make a distinction between them by saying that the one can be produced and the other cannot. In this paragraph Nãgãrjuna argues that if the opponent, on the other hand, holds that Weixing and I-sheng are different and that Weixing is real, it would go against common sense to say that I-sheng is unreal. For 2 different things should have 2 different appearances or essences. If one is real, the other should be unreal. This is absurd, and therefore it is untenable that an effect is already real in a cause and then becomes a product. Again, real and unreal are opposite. Suppose that which is produced is real and that which is not yet produced is also real. Then the two should not be different. Why? If both are real, what is the difference between them? But it is not true that they are not different. So if an effect is real in a cause, there can be no production. Again, whatever is real has already been realized, why must it be produced again? Just as that which has been done need not be done again, and that which has been achieved need not be achieved again, so what is real would not be produced again. Again, if an effect is real in a cause, then the effect should be observable before it is produced, but actually it is not observable. For example, the jar should be seen in the clay and the straw mat in the straw, but in fact they are not observable. Therefore, if an effect is real in a cause, there is no production.
Question: but, although an effect pre-exists, it has not yet undergone change and hence is not observable. Answer: if when the jar has not been produced, its form has not undergone change and hence it cannot be observed, by what mark do we know and say that the jar pre-exists in the clay? Is it by a jar mark, a cow mark or a horse mark we claim there is a jar? If the clay does not contain a jar mark, nor a cow mark nor a horse mark, is it not the same as saying that the jar does not exist? Therefore, it is not tenable to say that an effect pre-exists in a cause and will be produced. Again, a thing which has undergone change is called an effect, and hence change must have already occurred in the cause. Why? Because you claim that an effect pre-exists in a cause. If things such as jars have undergone change and pre-existed in their causes, they should have been observable. But in fact they were not observable. Therefore it is unjustifiable to say that an effect has not undergone change and hence is not observable. If what has not undergone change is not called an effect is ultimately unobtainable. Why? Because change does not occur before production, nor does it occur after production. So effects such as a jar are ultimately unobtainable. If what has been changed is called an effect, then an effect is not in a cause. Thus you are uncertain about whether an effect is already in a cause or is not in a cause.
Question: change pre-exists but cannot be seen. A thing may actually exist although its existence is unobservable. For example, a thing is not perceived because it is too close, or it is not perceived because it is too far away, or it is not perceived because of sensory defect, or it is not perceived because we fail to notice it. A thing cannot be known because of obstacles or because of similarity. It cannot be seen because it is overwhelmed by something else. And a thing may be too small to be known. Medicine in the eye is an example of a thing which is not seen because it is too near. A bird flying high and disappearing in the sky is an example of a thing which cannot be seen because it is too far. Some examples in which a thing cannot be known because of sensory defects are: the blind cannot see colors, the deaf cannot hear, the stopped nose cannot smell, the mouth of a sick person cannot taste, the paralyzed body cannot feel, the crazy mind cannot know reality. An example of a thing which is not known because we do not pay attention to it is this: when we concentrate on certain colors or other things we do not hear a voice. Instances in which a thing is not known.